Welcome back to another edition of From Beyond Champaign. I'm Cody. You can follow me on all the platforms on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Cody_CHGO. It's been a while. Haven't been back since I think when me and Patrick recapped the Alabama loss. Been kind of busy. The holidays are here. Didn't really want to take the time to do post game for a couple blowouts against some mid-major schools. Perhaps I could have put up some shorts or something on the YouTube channel, but I kind of just wanted to see how things played out, to be honest, to then perhaps, kind of recap both games. But then my full-time job got in the way. It's been kind of busy this week, a lot of headlines within the baseball world. So I am here now, and Arkansas and Illinois play tomorrow on Thanksgiving on a neutral site. Number 19, Arkansas. Illinois will try to get their first, I guess, real marquee victory of the season against Arkansas. Tomorrow we're going to talk about that. I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things because it's been, a week since I was last here. I have a lot of thoughts on Ed Cooley. I have a lot of thoughts on Hunter Dickinson. It has nothing to do with Illinois, but I have a lot of thoughts on Hunter Dickinson if you watched the Kansas and Duke game last night. So that's a little tease. We'll go around the Big Ten. I got some thoughts on some certain teams that I've watched, especially this week as it is feast week. And there's been a lot of games to watch. And as most people here know, I am a degenerate and I like to gamble. So I'm watching a lot of teams. As always, though, if you're here on YouTube, hit the like button. Would appreciate it. I appreciate everyone's support. And also, if you have thoughts on the team or whatever related to Illinois, you can always hit the voicemail number, whether it's via text or if you want to call, whatever. If you call, I will play it on the show. The number is 312-379-9256. I will play it on the next show. Or if you do it while I'm live, perhaps I will play it on the show, perhaps if I'm looking at my phone. So there's a lot to discuss here. Let's start with just how I'm feeling going into this game. All right, let's start with just the overall preview against Arkansas. I think that is what's most important. All the other things aren't nearly as important. However, when you have thoughts and you just want to get them out, I will get them out. But let's just start with the most important thing here. Illinois and Arkansas. Okay. Arkansas, they just beat Maryland Eastern Shore, the same team Illinois played just a week ago, over the weekend, on Saturday, I believe. They just beat that team by 74 points. All right. Illinois blew them out too. I don't remember how much they won by, but it was a lot to a little, right? But Arkansas showed just how good they can be, I guess, against a team like that. Winning by 74. I think they scored 109 points. I was looking at their schedule. Their biggest win of the season. It's not really there. They were in it against Baylor, I believe. I'm gonna search this to make sure because I don't want to get it wrong. I was looking at their schedule and I'm not looking at it now, and now I'm drawing a brain fart. That seems to happen. I'm a very tired man. Yes, they were in the game against Baylor, but they lost by 5 to Baylor. Back when Baylor was number 8 in the country, Arkansas was 16. This is back on November 9th. That's their biggest marquee win outside of that. I mean, I guess. I mean, there just really isn't one. I can't even guess one. There really isn't one. They've beat Lipscomb, they've beat Troy, they've beat Pacific, they've beat Little Rock and Maryland Eastern Shore. Both Illinois just played those teams as well. They did struggle against Little Rock. They only won by 12 against Little Rock. And we'll get into why they've kind of struggled a little bit overall, but yeah, their best win of the season for sure was against Maryland Eastern Shore. They're taking a lot of confidence into this game against the Illini. I would say, I would lean to guess they have a lot of confidence. You win by 74, no matter who it is. You probably feel good about yourself going into a game. It's on Thanksgiving. Philip in the chat is pointing one of the big headlines of the game. Tomislav greater than sign. Tomislav greater than sign. I literally searched it. I didn't want to mess it up. Zvonimir. I think that's how you say his name. Tomislav greater than sign. Zvonimir. Brothers from Croatia. Zvonimir obviously was with John Calipari at Kentucky last year. Transferred to Arkansas when Calipari took the job. So that will be a fun matchup to watch. They're both very similar players. I mean, they're twins. It's not surprising to me that they're both very similar players in that the fact that they look basically the same. So that will be fun to watch. Yeah, so there's a lot of things about this game that I'm excited to see. There are a lot of things in this game that I am looking for and I hope to see. First off, I hope the turnovers are down. You go back to the Alabama game, they turned it over way too many times, right? They missed a ton of free throws. They went like 13 for 24 at the free throw line against Alabama. You could have made the argument if they make a large majority of those free throws, they at least covered the spread. And as they were 8.5 point underdogs against Alabama. If you at least cover that 8.5, I think you get a little bit more respect from the people. But I digress. But those are two big things, right? Those are two big things. But also, I'm curious to how the defense plays. You gave up 100 points to Alabama. Now, Arkansas is 81. They're ranked 81 in offensive efficiency on KenPom. So their offense has not been as good as a team like Alabama, for example. Could it be better than what it's been? I think Calipari and many Arkansas fans believe it can be. Because to start the year, John L. Davis has struggled for Arkansas. He did have a good game against Maryland Eastern Shore, and when you win by 74, everyone has a good game, okay? But he was shooting like 21% from three going into that game. Again, they kind of struggled against Little Rock, not winning by a lot against them. And a big reason why it feels like those box scores or like those the game-ending scores aren't as great is because John L. Davis just has got off to a little bit of a slow start to the year. So I was reading some stuff from some Arkansas media, and everyone's kind of talking about John L. Davis. It's off to a slow start for him. Now, if you don't know who that is, which I think most people do, he was one of the bigger names in the transfer portal this past offseason. He played at FAU. Point guard at FAU was a big part of their team that went deep in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. Their coach takes the Michigan job, and he enters a transfer portal, and he finds himself at Arkansas. So, will he light it up for the second game in a row against Illinois? Well, like I said, I'm looking at Illinois' defense here. Is Kylan Boswell going to be on him? I think Kylan Boswell did pretty good against Alabama. I think overall, despite Illinois giving up 100 points, to hold Mark Sears to 0 points in that game was pretty impressive. I think it'll be key to keep John L. Davis quiet. I'm not saying you have to hold him to 0 points, but you can't let him fill it up against you. You played against FAU last year, I believe in December. That was a offensive powerhouse game at MSG. It was one of Illinois' first marquee wins of last season. A Marcus Damask game, one might call it. So Brad Underwood and his staff have faced this kid before. Now, as far as the rest of their team, I don't really know what to expect from them. The twin brother matchup of Tomislav and Zvonimir, sure, it's going to be fun to watch. I'm hoping that Tomislav outplays him. Zvonimir was talking a little trash to the media the other day in a fun banter way, a brotherly way. It felt like. So yes, that will be fun. And Tomaslav's been great this year. He's been really productive. He continues to play well. His footwork is just so fun to watch. When he is in the paint, he doesn't get in a hurry. Doesn't freak out. He can make the three. He makes good passes, I feel like, as well. Sometimes I feel like he can look a little overmatched and just in terms of just bigger dudes, not necessarily taller, but just bigger dudes being around. But I think these guys, they know each other really well. Obviously, they played against each other as kids, right? So I'm looking forward to see how he plays against him, especially on Thanksgiving Day at a neutral site. So I personally can't wait to see that. But as far as the rest, I think one of the biggest keys is definitely slowing down John L. Davis. And I think Kylan Boswell's on-ball defense will be very key in this. Other players, Will Riley continues to impress. After the Alabama game, me and Patrick sat here and questioned, should Will Riley be starting? I would say Will Riley, if he's not going to be starting anytime soon, I'm willing to make a bet that he could be in that starting lineup by the end of the year. Because the one thing I will say that leaves me concerned from these last two games from Illinois is I still just feeling underwhelmed about Trey White. I'm feeling underwhelmed, man. And it's not to say that I'm out on him. It's not to say that I'm, that I don't want him to play at all. But I don't know. I feel like I need more. Let's look at the box scores. Maybe if I look at the box scores, I'll change my mind again. He had 11 rebounds against Maryland Eastern Shore, 6 points, 3 of 6 shooting, whatever. It is what it is. But Will Riley had 19 points off the bench. And then if you look at Little Rock, against Little Rock, he had some blown layups in that game against Little Rock. 16 points, a better game, 8 rebounds. Will Riley, 13 points. So against Little Rock for sure was his best game. And I don't know, man. Like, I watched the game and I feel like I'm still maybe it's like he's not meshing the way that I was hopeful to see him mesh with guys on the court that he's starting with. Like, I don't know. Maybe Will Riley is just an insane athlete, and I think that watching him is more fun. I don't know. I'm not out on Trey White, but need him to be better. And listen, his last game was good, but it was against Little Rock, all right? Against Alabama, Trey White went 1 for 4 from the field with 6 points. He made 4 free throws. I'll give him that. Talked about making free throws. At least he made some free throws that day. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 turnovers in that game against Alabama. I think if they're going to win tomorrow, they're going to need all 5 starters to enter double figures, unless DGL gets hot. You know what I mean? Or Will Riley can easily give them double-digit figure points, but I think that Trey White's got to give him that little extra boost too, because I just don't know how to feel about this defense. I don't know how to feel about this defense right now. And, the defense was good this past week, right? They allowed 40 to Maryland Eastern Shore and they allowed 34 to Little Rock. And you can say whatever you want. Like, yeah, those are small mid-major schools that they're clearly not matching up with you size-wise, and they're not a premier program. You're absolutely right. But it's better than seeing them come out and do what, Arkansas did against Little Rock when they only won by 12 and let them score 60 some points. So I don't know, man. I need to see this defense pick it up a little bit. I know we play fast and we want to shoot a lot of threes, and then because of that, it leads to a lot of fast breaks and a lot of points in general. But I don't want to see Illinois give up 100 points again to another big school. Let me know your thoughts on that. How do you feel about this defense going into this game tomorrow against Arkansas? All right. By the way, 3:00 on CBS, if you're wondering. 3:00 on CBS. Philip says in the chat, Chen Coleman claims to know all of Brad's tricks. Thought that was interesting. I did see that clip on my Twitter account today. And am I correct in thinking that he was one of those assistant coaches that almost fought Fran McCaffrey like during the 2020 season, like before COVID happened? Am I correct to believe that happened? Because when I saw that clip, I was like, he looks like one of the coaches I swore I saw that almost tried to fight Fran McCaffrey at Iowa that one season. Right? I believe it was the season that the NCAA tournament got canceled. Someone let me know on that. I'm literally spitballing. I'm not sure at all. But I'll say this, him working with Brad, he certainly knows how Brad coaches, and he certainly probably knows how Brad wants to do some things. I think there's an advantage, but I also think that there's a little bit of advantage for Brad here related to him. I know Calaberry's the coach, but I just think that none of that all really matters. But I think that there is more pressure on John Calipari to win this game than I think there is for Brad Underwood to win this game. Personally, John Calipari, first year at Arkansas, the way he left Kentucky, and honestly, like, I know Musselman went to USC, right? Like the way Musselman had that program headed before he left, I thought he was going to be there for a long time, but things played out the way it did, and I think Calipari wanted a change of scenery. Things just weren't working out in Kentucky. A lot of disappointing early exits in the NCAA tournament here the last handful of years. But with his resume, though, it brings a lot of pressure, and they don't have a marquee win. So I know Illinois doesn't either, but I also think they're a ranked school. They probably, in some ways, have higher expectations to win. I think Illinois has high expectations from fans for sure. And I think college basketball media has put Illinois as a top 35 school in the country that potentially could be really good by the end of the year if a lot of their young players develop the way Brad Underwood and people think. But yeah, I still think there's more pressure on Arkansas here, considering the coach that came in and some of the guys he got in from the transfer portal. I think there's more pressure on Arkansas to win this game. And in turn, I think that helps Illinois tomorrow. Illinois needs that first marquee win. This would be awesome on Thanksgiving Day to be able to beat Arkansas. And when I think about Arkansas, I think about that loss in the NCAA tournament against them, not last year, obviously, but the year before. And probably the most, boring or, most predictable Illini season that we saw play out. The season where, the Matthew Meyer and Sky Clark and Jaden Epps, who we'll talk about in a little bit, and all those guys came in and it just didn't work. They still made the NCAA tournament, but first round exit, and they just played an ugly game against Arkansas. I haven't forgot about that day. That was a game that you could have predicted, but I remember going into that game and I was trying to muster up any sort of optimism to maybe just win one game, go to play on. I think it was probably Saturday. I was hoping that they would at least get to play another game with a chance to go to the second weekend. and instead it was just an ugly ass game. And I think Brad learned from some mistakes there, but things are looking bright. But I do remember after that loss, I think people were as low on Brad Underwood as ever after that loss to Arkansas. And it's crazy to see where we are now with Brad Underwood compared to then. And so, there isn't anyone on that team. Yeah, there isn't anyone on Illinois' team that played in that Arkansas game, but it's just a food for thought. I haven't forgot about that game, and I'm not saying this is a revenge game or of sorts or anything like that, but I feel like for Brad Underwood, he might be thinking about it, just because he knows where things were at that time, I think, and now they're in such a good spot, and this is a good opportunity to maybe go out and, would you call this an upset? KenPom has Illinois ranked higher than Arkansas. Illinois was ranked number 25 before they lost to Alabama. I think as of today, they're 21st in KenPom. I think. Let me make sure on that. Yeah, Illinois is 21st in KenPom. They're 32nd in offensive efficiency, 17th in defensive efficiency, and 29th in adjusted tempo. So, those numbers, especially on defense, have come down probably because of what they did these last two games. But, yeah, I'm interested to see how this game goes. And I think Illinois can win this game. I said before the season that I think that of the 4 SEC schools they play, I think they can go 2-2. I think they beat Mizzou, and I think they can beat Arkansas. I really do. I really do think that can happen. Tennessee will be tough, but Tennessee will be at your house. And they played Tennessee last year. Obviously, no one on this team played Tennessee last year except for Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, which I don't even know if he played in that game, but not the point. But Tennessee and Alabama will be your toughest test for sure in the non-conference outside of Duke when you play them in February. But I think they can go 2-2 against these SEC schools. So this is a great opportunity. I personally will be disappointed more so, and I probably won't have any moral victories. Won't be taking any moral victories if they lose tomorrow. I think Illinois can win tomorrow, and I think Illinois can win, not necessarily big, but multiple possessions, 6-7 points. I think Illinois can win tomorrow. And I like the way the guys are playing. Again, I know they didn't play anyone good these last couple days, but I like how Kylan Boswell has played since that second half against Alabama. He had a great second half against Alabama. He's been a little bit more aggressive in the games. I know against Little Rock, he didn't do a lot of it. He didn't do much of anything, but he still had 7 assists, only 1 turnover. So he still made an impact on the game. But Kasparas, Jakucionis had one of his best games of the season, 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, 3 steals. He always manages to have some insane pass that I'm like, wow, I can't believe he just did that moment. So he's feeling good going into this game. I don't care if it's Little Rock. He's coming off a great game, and confidence is key in this game, in my opinion. So he's feeling good coming into this game. We were talking about Tomislav earlier, 16 and 11 in his last game. He just continues to be very, very productive for them. One guy that I haven't talked a ton about who played well in these two games that I think is actually more important than any of the guys I just mentioned, Merez Johnson. All right. Merez Johnson had 8 points and 11 rebounds against Little Rock. That includes 4 offensive rebounds against them. And he's going to be an animal. I can see him. This isn't a good comparison because I think they're complete different players, but let's just talk about like the process of developing and getting better as the season goes along. Like, I think I might have said this in the last show. Dane Danger barely played at the beginning of last year. but he was playing big minutes towards the end of the year. He had a few games where he really shined, the Morehead State game in the NCAA tournament. Morez Johnson, I think, can be someone like that. He got to play a lot in these last two games because they were blowouts. 14 minutes against Maryland Eastern Shore, 10 points, 13 rebounds, and like I said, 8 points and 11 rebounds against Little Rock. The guy's a rebounding machine. I think he's a great rim protector, and as far as on the defensive end, I think he can really make a difference for Illinois against Arkansas, against honestly anyone in the country whenever it so needs to be. He played 14 minutes of that game. How much did he play against Alabama? I don't remember. I'm looking it up right now. He played 9 minutes against Alabama. So, when I'm talking about Trey White, if things aren't going well for him, bring in Will Riley, see if he can make a spark. Morez Johnson doesn't play the same position as Trey White, but, use your bench. I think Illinois is deep. They have dudes. The only guy on the bench right now that I'm not feeling too hot about is Kerry Booth, and it's largely just he just isn't getting time. I don't really know how to feel about Kerry Booth. So I don't know, man. I'm doing a lot of spitballing and a lot of spinning things to make myself feel good going into this game, but I don't see how Illinois can't be in this game. Arkansas's offense hasn't really gelled yet. Illinois, we've seen flashes of its offense being really good, but can its defense hang around or play up to par with Arkansas's? Because while Arkansas's offense has struggled, their defense, they're fifth in defensive efficiency in KenPom. So can you play up to par on the defensive end? And to me, that's a big question. But I think the good news here for Illinois is both teams like to play fast. When you look at Arkansas, Arkansas is 36th in KenPom, and they're 51 in adjusted tempo, right? And Illinois is 29, right? So they both are top 50 teams in pace, right? So I think that if they can play at that fast pace, that benefits Illinois more than it does Arkansas. So keys to the game: slow down John L. Davis. Don't let him get hot, considering you might be catching him at the right time. Don't turn the ball over, or at least limit your turnovers. I'd say no more than 12 turnovers tomorrow. No more than 12. And make your goddamn free throws. Make your free throws. All right. Now, the fun part of the show, because I've been wanting to get this off my chest, all right? We're going to sit down tomorrow. We're going to watch Arkansas and Illinois. And when Illinois wins, we can sit here and say that Brad Underwood has once again continued to help this program reach new heights that we never thought that we would get to. Not really, because it's just one game and it's in November and whatever. But maybe if we want to get delusional, perhaps we can make the argument. But I say this because why is Ed Cooley opening his mouth about Illinois basketball? Why is Ed Cooley talking about Illinois? I know he's got Jay Epps. He transferred. I think if I remember correctly, he was originally recruited by Cooley back when he was at Providence, and he ended up deciding to go to Illinois. So whatever. All of it is a bunch of crap that I don't really care about. Jaden Epps was a freshman at Illinois. He transferred. We talked about the season that he was here. There was a lot of turmoil. There's this moment in the game that people still talk about. Brad Underwood basically yelled at him, and Jaden Epps didn't like that, I guess, and that people think that's a big reason why he left. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not on the message board. I'm not on the message boards, okay? But that's the consensus, right? Now, Jaden Epps has been at Georgetown the last 2 years. Ed Cooley at Georgetown for the first time, or first-year coach at Georgetown last year, which was a big coaching move because he had a lot of success at the back end at Providence. A lot of success. Hell, they were ready to build a statue for him at Providence. And after, in his last year at Providence, when everyone's starting to speculate him leaving and there being rumored that he was going to leave, and he kept saying that he wasn't, I believe that's how it played out. After the NCAA tournament, he took the job at Georgetown almost immediately. And it was rightfully, it was poetic justice when he went back to Providence last year and lost. He went 9-23 in his first year at Georgetown. Yeah. Philip in the chat says Epps was committed to Providence, then switched to Illinois. Thank you, Philip. I knew I was on the right track. Okay. So here's some facts about Ed Cooley, who went 9-23 in his first year at Georgetown. The same Ed Cooley who called Illinois a, quote, bullshit school. He has 7 NCAA tournaments in his coaching career. His highest ranking in the AP poll as a head coach is 8. And when you talk about bullshit schools, Georgetown has 1 NCAA tournament appearance since 2015. And that 1 NCAA tournament appearance, Patrick Ewing was the coach. And I believe they got in because they won the Big East tournament, got insanely hot. They were one of the worst teams in the Big East, and they somehow got hot and won the Big East tournament. They didn't even get in as an at-large bid, and they wouldn't have got in if they didn't win the tournament. I believe that is what happened. When you look at Georgetown, they haven't reached a second weekend since 2011. And let's see. I mean, they got to a national semifinal in back-to-back years in 2006, 2005, 2006. John Thompson was the coach then. And you know what? I'm not even really trying to shit on Georgetown that much. Georgetown was a once proud basketball program. It has a lot of history, right? Georgetown the last 10 years kind of reminds me a lot of just Illinois in the 2010s. Like a once proud basketball program that is not living up to the standard, and they are in a dark hole right now. And their fans, their fan base, their alumni are like trying to figure out if they can get out of it. And they are hoping and praying that Ed Cooley is the guy that leads them out, right? And to be fair, Brad Underwood wasn't great in his first year at Illinois. It actually was just awful. I remember Brad Underwood's first coach game I don't think it was technically, like, it's not on his record, but I want to say it was an exhibition. They played Eastern Illinois, my alma mater, and I believe they lost that game. I believe that is what happened. So that's how bad it was when Brad Underwood came to Illinois. And it took years of just changing culture, bringing in the right guys, all these things, right? And Georgetown's off to like a 5-1 start this year. So I will give them credit. Maybe they're on the right path. But the point of this at all is that, like, who is he to say anything about Illinois? He's never even, like, he himself has never even been to an Elite Eight, and Brad Underwood just did that last year. Okay. I know he ended up apologizing, but I just had to get that off my chest. Like, I didn't have Ed Cooley slandering Illinois on the bingo card this year, guys. I didn't have that on the bingo card. And you know what? Like, big of Brad Underwood to basically not take the bait from the media to say anything back, and basically just said, let the fans, let the media, whatever, have fun with it. And you know what? I will. No one will be hate watching Georgetown like I will be hate watching Georgetown this year. Okay. No one will be hate watching them like I will. Okay. Yeah. Ed Cooley has 3 career NCAA tournament wins in 19 seasons. 3. Brad Underwood won 3 NCAA tournament games in 2024 alone. 7 total in 12 seasons. So, yeah. My guy, Sonny Verma from Locked On Illini, he's in the chat. Cody and I are going to do hate watch parties for Georgetown games. Dude, I'm so in. I just don't get it, man. Like, I would expect this from like a Big Ten school or something. What does Ed Cooley have against Illinois? What did Jaden Epps tell Ed Cooley? What is going on with that, man? What is going on with that? I don't know, man. That's one of the more bizarre storylines of this early college basketball season. Another one, as we move on, another one of this college basketball season. It's not even really a storyline. It's more of just like, oh, another moment that I can slander Hunter Dickinson. Sign me up, brother, because I cannot stand Hunter Dickinson. It's at a point that I'm surprised that Hunter Dickinson hasn't found himself at Duke, because he just fits the entire Christian Laettner mantra or the Grayson Allen mantra or any other random ass white dude who plays at Duke, right? That said, I do want Cooper Flagg to be a Chicago Bull one day. Not the point. Hunter Dickinson, this has nothing to do with Illinois, but I just have to remind people that Hunter Dickinson is 0-5 against Illinois. All right. That's the biggest thing that I will say here, that Hunter Dickinson is 0-5 against Illinois. And he took another L the other night. Not Kansas alone. Kansas actually played better without him on the floor. With 10 minutes to go in the second half, he got ejected because he basically kicked a guy going for a rebound or a loose ball, whatever, off the top of my head. And when they're both on the ground, Hunter Dickinson, like, it was so bluntly obvious that he intentionally kicked this dude. Like, the only thing that pisses me off is that after they ejected him, they didn't remove him from the bench. He sat on the bench the entire rest of the game. And when you're ejected, you don't get to do that. And so that's the only thing else that bothers me after the fact. But it's just, he is the most annoying college basketball player I have ever had to endure watching. He talks a lot. And I will admit, I will say this much. For college basketball, he's pretty good. He is a good college basketball player. But man, is he really easy to hate. He is very easy to hate. He loves the heel roll. If there's anyone here who likes the heel roll, it's him. But man, that was such a dirty play the other night from Hunter Dickinson against Duke. Honestly, the moment it happened, I was like, man, I should cash out my Kansas bet because this can't be good. Not only is he coming off the floor, but like that's just bad karma. And somehow, some way, Kansas, KJ Adams, especially if you don't watch a lot of Kansas basketball, KJ Adams is a dog. AJ Storr, slow start with Kansas, but I think he'll be better as the season goes along for them. But KJ Adams, he really was a big part in their win over Duke the other night. But yeah, I just had to throw out that Hunter Dickinson is just a clown. I don't know how Kansas fans can root for the guy. But most importantly, he's 0-5 against Illinois. Never forget. All right. That's that. Around the Big Ten, can we talk about the most fraudulent team in the Big Ten? Can anyone guess who the most fraudulent team in the Big Ten is? They played today. They played at like 11 a.m. I bet on them because, it was a prove it game for me. And I was like, listen, I would like to see you not prove that you're frauds until January, but you prove today that you're a bunch of frauds. Anyone guessing? Anyone understand where I'm getting at with this one? The biggest frauds in the Big Ten. If you haven't figured it out by now, we're talking about Indiana. Indiana got blown out by Louisville. God, they're a bunch of frauds, bro. They're a bunch of frauds. And I'll probably eat words because they'll probably bounce back sometime this weekend. But to lose to Louisville by not just a handful of points, they got steamrolled by Louisville. And their schedule, especially in the non-conference, sucks. So this is a bad loss for them. This is a really bad loss for them. 89-61. 89-61. Holy cow, man. That's and I want to give credit to Louisville here. They got a new coach in there. They're trying to change the culture. They are historically a really good basketball program. Over the last 5 years, it's been terrible, right? Indiana, Mike Woodson might be the next Juwan Howard for me. I used to joke about how Michigan should give Juwan Howard a lifetime extension. I used to joke about it. They fired him, and currently as we speak, they're up by 11 points against number 22 Xavier right now, right? Mike Woodson, what has he done at Indiana? What has he done? That outside 1 year when Trace Jackson Davis was there, his last season, I think that might have been Woodson's first or second year with Indiana. And that team went to did they go to the second weekend that year? I don't remember. They didn't win the Big Ten that year. I know that much. They call themselves a blue blood school, but they storm the court every time they beat Purdue. They haven't won. They call themselves a blue blood school, but they haven't won a national title this century. It's just I was number one on my hate list, but Indiana is right there. And maybe it's largely just because I've been so annoyed by their fan base this year because their football team is the Cinderella story of college football. And honestly, I legitimately thought they could hang around with Ohio State last weekend. And until their punter decided to not be able to catch the ball on a play where they're just trying to punt the ball, they were in that game, and then the second half happened, right? I don't know if that happening at the end of the half against Ohio State had anything to do with them maybe just felt like maybe they got punched in the gut and they just couldn't recover or what. The point I'm getting at here is that IU fans have just been very, very loud for the last 4 months. And that includes during college basketball offseason, they brought in all these transfers. They took on Luke Goody, which I actually wasn't even upset that Luke Goody went to Indiana. I liked Luke Goody at Illinois. He was fine. He was a nice 3-point shooter off the bench. And yeah, he was fine. I did not care that he went back home. I know he's from Indiana. He looks like someone from Indiana. Whatever. Right? But this Indiana team is a bunch of frauds. First off, they were down at halftime against Eastern Illinois. If they would have lost into Eastern Illinois, I would still be unsufferable about it, considering that's my alma mater. All right. They lost to Louisville today, and now they get to play Gonzaga tomorrow. Now, I'm saying all this so that's setting it up that Indiana is going to come out and play better against Gonzaga tomorrow, in which then all of this will make me look really stupid. Even if they lose tomorrow, but say they lose by single digits. Perhaps, maybe I'm overreacting a little bit. But I just feel like Indiana have a lot to prove that they belong not only in the top echelon of the Big Ten, but to even be ranked in the AP poll. All right. They got Gonzaga. Then they play Sam Houston, Miami, Ohio. They'll host Minnesota, probably beat them. Nebraska, they beat Creighton last week. They go to Nebraska. That'll be tough. They play Chattanooga. They play Winthrop. This is what I'm talking about with their non-conference. It's soft. It's soft, man. They needed to beat Louisville. And they got blown out. Then, of course, the Big Ten season starts in January, right? And just listed their schedule. So I don't know, man. We'll see how they do against Gonzaga tomorrow, but it's a very, very, very important game for them in terms of their resume building, right? It's definitely important. Now, another team that I'm like trying to read that I'm not sure about. Michigan State. In the games I've watched Michigan State, they just look like the same Michigan State team that I have watched like the last 5 years. They defend the living hell out of you, but man, are they not fun to watch play offense unless they make threes. And man, they are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in college basketball right now. They have been terrible. Now I say all this, and they're up by 12 on North Carolina right now. But man, like this week they kind of blew out Colorado. Then just like they couldn't make a shot against Memphis. Their guard play was not nearly as good as Memphis's. Maybe I should give Memphis more credit, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Michigan State. Maybe they're right. They're ranked perfectly where they're supposed to be in KenPom. They're like top 40. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Oregon has impressed me. They beat San Diego State today. Maryland has impressed me. Almost beat Marquette a few weeks ago. Bringing up Maryland now. They beat Villanova. I know this is not with Jay Wright, but Villanova is Villanova, in my opinion. Yeah, they lost by 4 at home to Marquette. Marquette's a really good team. I think they're probably still more of a mid-tier team in the Big Ten, but they're not a team you can sleep on. Now, other teams. Rutgers, huge win last night against Notre Dame, but lost to who did they lose to? It was a bad loss. Kennesaw State. They lost 79-77 on Sunday to Kennesaw State. Bounce back, beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost to Elon, so they were both coming off really bad losses. Win by 1 in overtime against Notre Dame. They're tied with Alabama right now, 13-13. So I still feel I'll say this about Rutgers. I think their ceiling is higher than Michigan State's. I think it's better. It's higher than Indiana's. I'll say that much. One bad loss is one bad loss. But I think this Notre Dame team's pretty good. And they beat them, and so far they're in this game against Alabama. If they end up beating Alabama tonight, it's going to make me sick because Illinois lost to them. But yeah, I haven't watched all the teams play. I've watched Purdue play. You know, Purdue beat Alabama, and then they lost to Marquette, right? And that's why I gave a lot of credit to Maryland for being in that game against Marquette. Even though they lost, they were in the game. Michigan is an interesting one. Michigan's an interesting team so far. 5-1. They're up by 19 right now, number 22 Xavier, which will probably be their best win of the season. They're at a neutral site in this one right now. But yeah, I'm really interested to see. Sonny brings up Wisconsin. I also cannot figure them out. Wisconsin he says Wisconsin is the team I can't figure out. I'll fight someone if guard takes another Coach of the Year trophy from Brad. Me and you can riot outside Big Ten headquarters. Isn't Big Ten headquarters here in Chicago? Like, isn't that where their studio is? We can riot outside Big Ten headquarters. Yeah, Wisconsin is a team that I've definitely underrated. I never believe in their offense, and their offense has actually been scoring points so far this year. But surprisingly, their defense has been bad. But I think the thing is that they've increased the pace a little bit for their team. Let me look them up on KenPom real quick. Wisconsin, they're 29th in KenPom, 13th in offensive efficiency, 68th in defensive efficiency, and 157 in adjusted tempo. I'd love to see the numbers for last year. Here, I guess I can just on KenPom click 2024. Let's see here. Can you take me? Take me. Let's go, KenPom. Wisconsin finished 17th in KenPom last year, 17th in offensive efficiency and 46th in defensive efficiency, and 304 in adjusted tempo. Yeah, like their pace is a lot faster so far this year than last year. They were a much slower team last year. Yeah, that's what I think has been the difference for me, is they are playing a lot faster. It's not like Illinois fast, but they are playing faster, which in many ways scares me because I have not taken for granted beating Wisconsin like 8 or 9 times in a row and it just being absolutely hilarious watching it all play out. But if they start increasing their pace and scoring more points, they can hang with Illinois. But it's early. They got off to a hot start last year. And then they faltered a little bit and got hot at the end of the year. So we'll see. Would you rather have Brad Underwood or Greg Gard? I think it's pretty clear. We'll see. But that if that means that the game that they'll play later in the year means more, great. So, yeah, Wisconsin's definitely a team that I'm still trying to figure out. But one thing's for sure, they're playing a lot faster, and I think that's leading to more points for them. Carson in the chat, a longtime friend. We go way back when I lived in Peoria. He says, Go Illini, free comedy show Friday night in Peoria at the Red Barn. If you're in or around the area, come on in. Man, if I was, I would, dude. I'm not going to be in Peoria on Friday. My brother lives in Peoria, though. Can I send my brother to your show? I'll tell my brother, hey, I know someone. I'll send him your way, I hope all the success for you, man. I hope the dream has taken its steps since the last time we saw each other, which was, it's 2024. Last I saw you was probably 2017, back when I was doing promotions for a radio group. Wow, what a time it was. How times have changed. Okay, we're about 52 minutes in, guys. I don't have much else. I wanted to shit on Ed Cooley. I wanted to shit on Hunter Dickinson. I wanted to laugh about Indiana. I wanted to have some optimism about playing Arkansas tomorrow. Is there anything else that I missed? Anyone have anything? Drop your comments. Whatever. I wrote a bunch of shit down. I think I got it all, though. I think I got it all. I did write this down while watching them play Little Rock. This is unrelated to anything that we were recently talking about. This is more related to the first segment. But someone said this on the broadcast against Little Rock. They said Will Riley would be a high school senior right now. And it was like after he did that alley-oop dunk with Kylan Boswell. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And it just put things into perspective for me. Just enjoy Will Riley while you can, because to this point, he's really impressed. Will he hit that like freshman wall? I hope not. And if it does come, I hope someone steps up. But right now, he doesn't look like someone who's being slowed down. I'll just say that much. But most importantly, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. It's not like Illinois gets one and dones every year. And yeah, I think that honestly, that might be a good way to end it. All right. So I will not be live tomorrow right after the game. I have to go to the suburbs for Thanksgiving, but perhaps I might be able to go live sometime tomorrow night. And if not, it will be Friday. So if you want to watch the show, turn the notifications on for my YouTube channel or stay tuned. Maybe you can listen to it in your car on the podcast form or whatever. I know my guy, Sonny Verma, I was going to join him on Locked On Illini, and then I realized the game is at 3 p.m. and not 8 p.m. Why I thought it was at 8 p.m., I don't know. I can't read. But yeah, I was looking forward to that, and then I realized that I just wasn't going to be able to do that. So, yeah. Won't be live right after the game, but hopefully tomorrow night when I get home. Yeah. But if not, tomorrow night we'll do something Friday morning. So, yeah. I appreciate y'all's support. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend if you know any Illinois fans who, I don't know, wants to listen to some dumb idiot in his apartment talking to his MacBook Air by himself about Illinois basketball. Maybe share my name to him. All right. Also, I don't think I said this in the last show. For the marquee games, I go live on TikTok and watch the game. I don't put the game up on my TikTok, but I just am there and it's kind of like we watch together. We did like watch alongs on the YouTube channel last year, but I feel like there's more reach on TikTok. So I don't think I'll be going live for tomorrow's game because I'll be with like my girlfriend's family and stuff. But just pointing that out for future games. There's a lot of marquee games coming up in the net and especially in December. So if you want to go follow me on TikTok and be around for those watch alongs and stuff, go do that. You can also just follow me anywhere else too. So I don't got anything else. I'm done talking. It's been almost an hour. Let's go Illinois tomorrow. Give me who's the player of the game tomorrow. I will take. Give me who's in leading scorer tomorrow. Drop your leading scorer in the chat while I'm like kind of trying to muster up. I'm trying to manifest what I think can happen. Give me Kylan Boswell to lead the team in scoring tomorrow. Give me Kylan Boswell. I like the way he's playing right now. And that second half he had against Alabama, like that was fun to watch. And he was a big part of them winning that game. If he has a great game tomorrow, they're going to win. Sonny says, I said Merez in my pregame player of the game, not leading scorer. Well, that's fair. You don't have to be the leading scorer to be the player of the game. Player of the game, I like Merez pick. I think Merez, if he gets the opportunity, if he gets the minutes, he can definitely play a big factor into this game, especially defensively. And Illinois is going to need that defense, I think. So I think player of the game overall. Give me Kasparas. He didn't have a great game against Alabama. So I think he's ready to bounce back in a marquee matchup here. So give me Kasparas as a player of the game and give me Kylan to lead the team in scoring tomorrow. All right. Okay. Hit that subscribe button. If you don't, hit the like button on your way out. I appreciate y'all so much. You all are so beautiful, and I appreciate you all very much. I will see you perhaps tomorrow or Friday. And as always, guys, ILL.